And welcome back to Worlds 2023 ahead of our second series of the day, G2 versus Gen.G. But before we get to the pre-match analysis, I have Dylan Falco with me, head coach of G2, to talk about the run they had so far, 2-0 start. How do you reflect on the games of the boys?
I'm very happy with our performances. Going 2-0 against LCK and LPL team, I think is a tough feat. And we're here to try and make a deep run in the tournament. So going 2-0 is the best start we can ask for. Obviously, the games were a bit shaky. I think we were in very good positions and threw both and then came back. So I hope today we can play a bit more consistent, I would say.
I want to say it's a classic for you, being the coach of G2. Of course, people have been talking about the infamous Baron setups for the team, and I want to show you the one from yesterday against Weibo. So I'm going to roll the clip here. Talk me through what you thought of this play, what they could have done better, and mostly how it went.
So we actually have like some 2-item spikes here, and I think we're actually quite a bit stronger. We reviewed this with our comms today. And I think our biggest issue was we were panicking a bit over whether to burst the Nash or not. And I think if we just peel back and hit their front line here, this actually doesn't look as bad as it does look in the game. I think we were a bit indecisive. As a Nash hit about 3,000, and there were some split calls. And we talked a lot today about the sort of things we should be talking about in the future to kind of help these sort of scenarios.
I think it's interesting because it echoes to what BB was telling me yesterday, the fact that nerves playing into these specific setups. When you listen to the comms from the player, what is the biggest issue, according to you?
So I think that from the day before, we didn't have Smite when we started Nash. And that was just purely a planning issue of like, guys, can we do Baron right now? Is this the appropriate time to do it? Do we have the resources? Can we hit Nash? Can we turn? Can we burst the Nash? Do they have flash to steal, etc.? And we just like, the nerves, I guess, made us make a bad decision. This case yesterday, I think, was a little different. I think our decision making was clear and calm when we watched it. And it was a lot more of the execution about how we played this scenario. And I think the more we get in these scenarios, the better we will be. I think especially when you scrim so much, this happens a lot less actually, these sorts of very tight Baron scenarios. And I think it will build our strength in these clutch moments for the rest of the tournament.
And for me, that's the main difficulty because you don't get a lot of opportunities to train on these kind of setups. And if you tell me that it doesn't happen so much in scrims, how do you solve this?
Well, we do like we did today. We talk about it a lot. We set kind of guidelines and priorities of what we think about and talk about for what happens next time. And ultimately, we just need to make the right calls and play well in the moment, right, when it comes down to it. So.
All right. All focusing a bit more on today, rematch against Gen.G. We saw this one at MSI. How do you think this one will go? How much of a different team is G2 right now? And what's your read on Gen.G?
At MSI, I think we went, what, 1-3? We did take a game, and I think that we actually scrimmed them quite a bit leading up to this World Championship. They were, I think, one of the strongest teams we faced, but it definitely felt like we were going very, very close to them. So, although I do think they're one of the best teams at the tournament, I think we have a definite chance. And I definitely feel that our team can play at the level of the top teams of the tournament.
Wishing you the best of luck going into today. Less stress, hopefully, on your side. And Dylan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Sharks, back to you.
Thank you so much. Less stress. Have you watched G2 play any game ever? Thank you so much, Laura and Dylan Falco in the Verizon Game Day interview. We got to talk about this game yesterday that they also touched on. The craziest game of Worlds so far.
Easily, and the late game team fighting from G2 was really something to behold. I also loved the Shy. I saw a quote afterwards, G2's really good at baiting you into mistakes, he said, as if they also, it was actually an unlosable game for Weibo until all this stuff happened.
I mean, the reality is, I thought Hans made a couple big mistakes, but the team covers for each other. They don't just collapse when one mistake is made, and I think that's one of the things that he's talking about. You make a mistake, Weibo thinks they can go in, and then they get crushed.
And these are the win probability graphs from both of their Swiss stage games so far. The Baron throw in the top one, you can see, took them a little below half chance of winning. This one took them to a 99.4% chance of losing, according to the algorithm, which would say one of every 167 games, they're going to get that comeback, which is what they did.
This is fuel. G2 watches this and they think, really? Really? We can also hear from them because we've got some voice comms from that crazy game.
Keep control. I'm ulting him, okay? Just kill. Don't give him ult, don't give him ult. No flash on them, no flash on them. Should be dead. Nice. Yeah, I can look at Azir here.
I want to poke Azir.
Can we look? Yeah, I'm ready. Good. Yeah, Azir. Dead. Guys, group up. Play together. Group up. Yeah. Lissandra, kill him. We win this.
Okay, okay.
Okay, guys, go next wave. Okay, get ready.
Kai'Sa, maybe.
Yeah, do it. No flash.
Nice,
Yeah.
kill him.
Kai'Sa. Nice.
Together. Okay, guys, let's calm down. They're gonna be full sweating.
Guys, we got this, okay?
Yep. Help hands.
Fine.
Just run. Okay.
Still, if you can.
Oh, help me. I have ulti. Can I have help?
Result. Kill Lissandra now.
Hey, look.
Alright, then.
We win. I see that. Under that. Kai'Sa, only Kai'Sa. No. Yes! Nice.
Oh my god!
That's how we do it!
Oh my god!
Nice! Good job, guys. Nice.
Only bangers. Well played, guys.
Bangers and
Oh, you're mega baiting.
Nice.
Oh my god. I'm gonna get so slapped. Oh my god.
I just love the subtitle of Excited G2 Sounds. That was hilarious.
Exactly, and it is exactly how we felt as well watching. Now, that was all fun and games, the momentum on their side, but now they're going into an incredibly heavy matchup, one that they've seen at MSI and they didn't fare too well. They're up versus the LCK champions Gen.G and also one of the tournament favorites. And I think we can get straight into one of the most important matchups. It is Caps versus Chovy in the featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. Jad, and this has not gone the way of Caps.
Not really. Chovy has been so strong. You look at the numbers during the tournament, though, it does look a little bit comparable. Caps has had some great international showings before, but this year for Chovy, 2 LCK championships, and aside from Gen.G, the favorites at Worlds.
I mean, the reality is, it almost never goes against Chovy in lane. This guy is such a monster laner. Gen.G is such a strong, cohesive team. They're an incredible team fighter. They're really stable. They can run you over in the early game if you make any mistakes. And this team is so complete that it's really hard to pick one area to attack or one way to actually peel them apart.
What we've seen has been the most successful when they have fallen. It's been against a monster team fighter like Gen.G, someone who can mess up the dynamic that they thrive in so much as a Gen.G. That is, for me, a big point for them to look at if they're looking at taking the entire tournament. But is that going to be even a possibility for G2 today?
I mean, there's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
I mean, G2 has so much momentum. Other teams talk about them as being one of those top-tier teams, and they have been able to step up to the plate. Like, just think about it. They've thrown at Baron twice, and they're undefeated.
Yeah.
That in itself is actually very impressive.
Yeah, Gen.G's watching and thinking, this does not make any sense. Like, we're watching that win probability. Let's see if the votes from the fans at home make sense. Remember that every day you can vote at MasterCard GG on X. G2, 64.8%, and Gen.G, 35.2%. It usually goes the way of G2 on X.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean
It is mostly the Western audience that is voting,
Yes.
to be fair, but
Honestly,
I think you gotta say it's Gen.G that are heavy favorites coming into
Absolutely.
this. G2 did have 2 great games that they won, but they were both against the 4 seeds. This is the LCK champion. This is a tournament favorite. This is Gen.G.
I actually don't understand that fan vote. Why would 65% of people not want to see G2 play 3 more best-of-3s at Worlds?
Because they don't want to have more heart attacks.
They don't want to die, Jad. They
don't.
want to
Part of
live.
the fun.
No,
That's
we
part
want to
of
see
the
an
fun.
amazing series. I hope we get it. And we have some amazing casters, so it can't go wrong.
Thank you so much, Shox. I don't know about that. We've used a lot in our previous series, but now it is time for maybe an even bigger banger. That's exactly what G2 promised us in their voice comms. And already, we're into the draft. And Chronicler, I want to come to you. What does Score have prepared for us today?
I have learned not to doubt Score, even though even in the second game that Gen.G played, I was a little worried. What I do like is that he respects Hans Sommer. D+ made the mistake not to. They got obliterated by this Draven, and Kalista getting banned straight off the bat.
Yeah, Kalista been banned against Hans for 12 out of the last 13 games, and this is going to make it 14. One thing that G2 have done, though, I love the support matchup here. They left up Delight's Rakan. He is possibly one of the best, if not the best, Rakan in the world. Will they hit him with the Mikyx Lissandra counterpick? Are they trying to let them have that combo, let them have the Xayah Rakan that so many people have gone after? Is it a trap? G2 is this team that pulls so many tricky traps in Champ Select.
Well, I mean, Rakan was definitely coming. It's Delight. This guy is extraordinary on this champion. So G2, they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. Maokai Jace, definitely available. But I wonder what Mikyx does have up his sleeve. Because, of course, you don't necessarily need to show it now.
I see a Lissandra poking out. It's not well hidden up the sleeve. I'm so excited for this one. We've been waiting for this all day. Yike did say on camera before this, Viego, his favorite champion. Then he mentioned Bel'Veth as a close second. But I like the shout out.
I'm not the biggest Ezreal and Jory champion. Hasn't looked too good thus
is
far.
it happening? It's happening!
That is the combo, though.
Yeah, I knew.
It's locked in!
They laid the trap from the beginning. They knew it. But Delight's going to take that every time anyways.
No, what we need to figure out is how much Delight actually cares.
That's going to be the big question.
This is also the best way to test your Lissandra counter is against Delight's Rakan to see how well it works. Of course, for everybody who had not been tracking every single game, this was something that emerged in Challenger in Europe, and then Mikyx also used it on stage in Europe to great effect. Lissandra with so much CC, the root really countering Rakan, but now we see the Sylas being able to steal away that Maokai ultimate when he sees the Maokai, when he sees the Lissandra.
And if we see mid lane bans, then we know that Gen.G knows what's going on here. But so far, K'Sante going to be taken away. Theoretical mid lane ban, I guess, but not going to give away too much just yet.
Yeah, Chovy seemingly not getting the memo that we're in 2023 Worlds, not 2022. Blinding Sylas here. Now, can protect it a little bit here with some of the bans, although the first one didn't go that way. Also think Sylas is one of the picks where you can go for either First Strike or Conqueror, depending on matchup. So you do have some possibilities to try and change up your build. Peanuts champion pool, though, it's 4 out of 5. Maokai already locked in for Broken, or for Yike, rather. And we'll see what Peanuts ends up going with.
All right, waiting on pins and needles to see if they have the reveal for the swap. And indeed, do they know?
Exactly.
They must.
They must.
There's a fair bit of stress in Score's face right now, and Jace is a mid lane ban. Against European teams, you'd have to expect. Yeah. So they have a bit of an idea as to what's going on here. And of course, with the fact that all of the teams come here to Korea to scrim one another, a lot of this information is circulating regardless, and there is tape of the Lissandra being there. So good to see they have done their research. So the Rumble going to be taken away from Doran. An understandable ban. He was fantastic just the other day.
Yeah, absolutely massive with that one, especially pointing out the rotation where they took the dragon, he snuck into the side brush, got his solo kill. Really big stuff from him, sacrificing lane minions to play with the rest of the team. They are going to lock in Peanuts Lee Sin. Definitely a classic here first, and they're going to save the counter pick for Doran. Now G2 will do the final reveal.
What is it going to be? Of course, it is theoretically still a flex.
Yeah, it is.
If Caps would like to take that one into the mid lane, they can certainly do that. Ansama and Mikyx will let us know exactly where these things are heading. And there is the Renekton locked in. And what is it going to be? Not likely to be an Azir. It's not exactly a favorite thing to give a Sylas an Emperor's Divide. It's a pretty powerful ultimate when he's not just stealing away Nature's Grasp over and over again, or getting stopwatch cooldowns. That is another thing that you can gather from that ultimate.
Oh, actually, even though the nerfs have
here we are.
thrown towards the Tristana, I think this is a really good matchup. Tristana bullies a lot of melee matchups early on, and you can go really in aggressively, try and punish Chovy for picking a laner that early on shouldn't be able to match the pushing power, as Doran going to the Jax should be no surprise.
Yeah, big stuff here. I love it. All right, my favorite is, even though everyone's looking at Caps versus Chovy, the support matchup, Mikyx versus Delight, both support players are so huge for both of these teams. Were really, really big parts in getting them here to Worlds in the first place.
Exactly right, and this is the handcrafted counter pick to the pick that Delight has found the most success on in his career. He began the fear of Delight's Rakan on Brion, a team that was not necessarily touted as one of the best in Korea, but it was still feared in his hands alongside Henna on that team, and it has only gotten better as that time has gone on, but the Lissandra might just be enough to stop it in its tracks.
I gotta say though, the front line of Maokai plus the peel that Lissandra provides with a double 80 carry core for G2 does look really strong, particularly because everyone on Gen.G is very short range. It's going to be forced to try and play forward into all that CC that's available.
So excited to get on the rip for this one, especially because when you have the Tristana mid, even though the magic resist was reduced for this patch compared to when we always used to get to see it, if the Sylas doesn't touch you, then it doesn't matter. If you've got a Maokai coming into your lane, flash W, and Tristana rocket jumps on your head as Sylas, you can just get pushed out of the lane entirely, pushed out of the game.
So it is going to have to be something that we track here, of course. Chovy has been very, very good on melee matchups into range in the past. We'll see how Caps is going to do. Let's do it. Let's jump onto the Rift here for game number 1. Whoever wins this best of 3 gets to quarterfinals alongside JDG.
Oh, a trap.
I love it. They have the ward early. They see Doran here. They're going to wrap around. They have so much CC. They have the Lissandra. They have everything. Oh, Doran,
no.
I feel so bad for you, buddy.
This is not what you want to see. Cap's going to jump on top of him, gets the slow, as already the leap strike has been used. He still has flash. I have a feeling he's actually going to be fine.
It only cost him a trinket.
There we go.
It only cost him a trinket. Never mind.
That's
Never
nerves
doubt
of
Doran.
steel. Like, if I saw that, I'd be flashing immediately, but I guess the flash angle didn't really offer itself up.
Doran has nerves that are forged of steel by himself, sometimes voluntarily. I gotta give him credit for that one. Does have to start Leap Strike, which obviously into the Renekton does mean that your level 1 is gonna be a bit of a rough one. Also want to highlight as well some of the rune choices.
Yep, but I want to remind everyone that they can connect their League account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive experimentation emote. Experimentation like, you know, Lissandra support that actually works out very, very well. And without that experimentation, you're not going to be able to find these results.
No, you have to. Particularly, and I really appreciate G2 for this, that they're willing to just scrap, play their own style. So it always worked for them. And what made them such a fair team back in 2019. One short note, Caps actually did end up going for Demolish. I love that choice. I think Tristana in particular uses it so well into melee matchups.
Another big thing about the Lissandra pick, as we can dive even more into it, is that it's so good with a champion like Ezreal that could allow Mikyx to get more roams off. Really, really powerful support-style champion where you can go topside, you can roam to mid really early on. When they've got the early push like this, it gives you so many more options.
Yeah, and all of these CC angles that we see mid laners come up with certainly still just apply, right? So like you're saying, you can get into those backlines and find those key targets. Peyz with his cleanse is going to have to need to keep that one close to his chest.
Yeah, and oftentimes for mid laners, some of the things you have to worry most about are support roams, not just these junglers ganking your lane and burning your summoner spells, as we see Broken Blade getting the entire wave in here. But if they're able to get an opportunity and have a pushing bottom lane, which gives Mikyx roam timers to go just even burn a Chovy flash, that in itself could cause him to drop even more CS because you have to play even more safe in the mid lane. You have to always worry about the Maokai coming in.
It's over.
And this is the benefit of the level 1, right? The fact that Doran doesn't actually have his W, so has to go Q into E, and then as a result, doesn't actually get the cannon. BB also gets a free back, is going to choose to teleport back to the lane to try and maintain as much pressure as possible. And unfortunately for Doran, like there could have been a dive window there as well, but with Yike starting on the top half of the map, doesn't actually end up happening.
Yeah, both junglers full clearing opposite sides, so we'll have a Scuttle Crab split.
Oh, manages to find the chain here as Chovy will take a fair bit of delayed damage. That evens out that trade between him and Caps. Peanut now looking for an angle on this top side. Broken Blade playing with a fair bit of space given to Doran, so it doesn't look like Peanut's going to go for anything as Delight is spotted on this sweeper.
Yeah. And both teams should be pretty well aware as far as the jungle starts on opposite sides. So you even saw a blue ping there on top Scuttle Crab. They know, hey, Broken Blade, he's taking top Scuttle Crab right now. Don't expose yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, Doran actually going to be able to walk up to Broken Blade here. Knows that the Slice and Dice is on cooldown. Good trade, but still, Doran was looking for a little bit of a cheater. And now, looking for Broken Blade. Peanut can just safeguard his way over. The Q is going to miss. And Broken Blade will hang out underneath his turret and he'll be fine.
Really big for BB to survive. Will still be in a rough spot here though, because Doran crucially can teleport back to the lane as he misses another cannon. Little zoom in there to make sure that we know. But I do think that Broken Blade still surviving there is big. Peanut not really willing to invest anything, which I think could have definitely looked for a kill there, but not going to take the risk. Instead, it's going to be Doran teleporting back to lane, but we do see Yike already covering towards the top side.
Exactly. Love that ward. Always the deep vision between Gromp and Blue Spawn. Going to allow them to know the second clear route. Meanwhile, I am definitely curious if Caps and Chovy remain as aggressive as they have been in the mid lane. Looks like we're going to try and shadow Broken Blade up here.
Yeah, Doran does get the bad news. There's a tree in his lane. And that is just going to be that wave being dealt with. Like you were talking about, Broken Blade in a little bit of a rough spot. Yike there to help him out.
Yeah, really good job there by Yike, because with the teleport disadvantage for Broken, or rather Doran teleporting back, if you don't fix that wave and Doran gets to just sit there, he either gets a plate or gets to just go for a really oppressive roam. Not going to be the case, and it means that instead BB just gets the back, make his way, and spend his gold.
Exactly. And Doran's never going to like take an extra bait trade there or anything, because he obviously saw Yike on the ward too.
Delight just having a good time here. Hansama taking next to no damage because it's a Rakan. Still looked kind of cool, avoiding the W and stuff like that.
So this Ezreal topic, are we going to...
do we want to address it
a little bit?
I
or,
like the tech, the exhaust PTA tech. I just feel like the champion thus far has not really been worth the trade-off, because I do think that Ezreal, as mentioned, the main point is that, as we have seen, Mikyx is basically never in bot lane. Has consistently been a thing, but is that worth having an AD carry that offers so much less damage than particularly the Xayah, which has been wildly successful this far?
Well, Mikyx just going to Circle of Frost and then get out of there with the Claw. One thing that they do have on G2's side is another AD carry. So you don't need to worry about the not as much damage on the AD carry, because there's another AD carry that does more damage.
You got the backup AD carry, but which one's backup in that case?
Well, the thing is, like, Caps is the one that has like the early spike and the super late spike, and Ezreal has the mid spike, and so you balance it. You know, that's
so
how it's supposed to work.
Spike. So you play every side, you always come out on top.
That's how it works.
Love it. Somebody is always spiking. Meanwhile, G2 always taking this dragon. Number 1 picked up for them. Peanut tries to take something back on the top side with the invade on blue buff here, make them pay a very small price for it. But of course, we saw the trade on bottom side, how Mikyx again goes back there, they get the push out. He does the aftershock trade, is the reason he walks up like that on Lissandra, throws his claw backwards so he has his escape ready, then knows he can walk up, boom, hit the W route, proc his aftershock, get a good trade, get the push out, earn themselves a dragon. They've got the Tristana mid constantly pushing. The only place where Gen.G can really continue to push and get their advantages has been this top side, but Broken Blade taking most of Doran's health.
Yeah, I think Doran trying to set up a bait there, but then Peanut was spotted and had to just run away from the Maokai, so Broken Blade was like, that's fine, I have Dominus, I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage. Not enough to force any summoners or kills, will trade ultimates though.
Yeah, G2 so happy with the double pushing of mid and bottom, allowing them a lot of control here in the early setup. Looks pretty good for them. Of course, they're looking for revenge against G2. MSI, of course, mentioned by Dylan Falco. It's going to be difficult, though.
Certainly will. So far, so good. Here for G2, things very, very even when it comes to gold. Only 300 in it. No first blood just yet, but that Drake certainly going to give G2 a lot more control of this game. Next one, going to be that Ocean. I think we're ticking up towards 35 with that one. Good to see. And Chovy clearing out this mid lane. Delight is parked here, and that means that there is a Rift Herald on the map. Our first team fight could be afoot. Kobe?
All right, number 1 thing to look for, can Chovy get sight of this Maokai to steal his ultimate?
Ooh, that is a question. And does Yike have a stopwatch to deny that?
Doesn't have a stopwatch, but he does have some vision.
Okay, Hansama going to get out of there.
Hey, he has it. Chovy picks it up.
All right, objective number 1 complete. That's objective number 1. Get sight of the Maokai.
How many items are on the list?
Steal the ultimate. Honestly, that's number 1, and then we look for the Rift Herald. Mid lane push though, Mikyx taking advantage there, so helps Caps, although Tristana doesn't need a tremendous amount of it. I wonder how close Mikyx is to his level 6 as well, since he is leeching experience. Delight is already level 6. That could be a very big difference. Oftentimes in these Rift Herald fights, if the support level 6 difference, the extra button to push here in the fight, is not equalized,
And the
Still
wave
no
is,
6.
Yeah, it's quite a long way away as well, so Mikyx's going to have to wait a little bit of time there as Chovy. He wants to find it, and like you say, there's no level 6. However, Mikyx is going to get rooted, but he should be far enough away. Never mind, Chovy looks for the angle, but now the explosive charge is there. Caps is just wrecking Chovy on the way through, but still, Peanut, in the meantime, is just going to try and take this Rift Herald by himself. Yike is going to turn up, and he still has the real Nature's Grasp. Peanut going to get out of the way because he respects that fact. Delight is going to find Peanut here, and now Caps dives in. Another explosive charge is primed, and the chain's connected. First blood, solo kill for Caps.
Mikyx burns the flash from Chovy with the bait. He don't need no level 6, and then Caps finishes him off. Perfect buster shot to interrupt Chovy. He can't connect, and Caps gets the first blood. G2 gets the Baron. G2 smurfing in Korea low so far.
And it's not a Baron quite yet, Kobe. It's just Shelly. It's just a Rift Herald. But still, it may as well be. And sometimes Barons are way worse for some of our teams.
Mickey. My goodness. Quick fingers for him, and now they're looking to trap Peanut.
Peanut going to safeguard his way out. The popcorn chickens belong to Yike. So there's the consolation prize. Chovy back to lane. Tail between his legs, though, and you can see down about a wave right now. Let's have a look at the replay. Caps.
Oh, yeah. He knows there's no flash on Chovy because Chovy tried to make the play onto Mikyx under a tower, and so he's just ready. Buster shot, he knows. Chovy tries to come in, instantly out, has the auto. Beautiful.
And there's a chance that if the Kingslayer had have gone off onto Caps, if he had have made it into range, it might have worked out, but not to be the case. Caps just read it.
Yeah, and I think that if you have your ultimate, Caps, you know, this is the type of confidence that this player has been talking about coming into. Feels like he's been lacking that throughout the last few years. And moments like that you need against a team like Gen.G. Now, early, about 800 gold lead, but there is still a Herald available here for G2 to try and further build upon that. Second Drake also spawning.
And you actually,
10 seconds.
Since you get so much gold from killing Rift Herald now, with the full 300, Yike already finishing Demonic Embrace with his first strike, Maokai. With his red smite here, Cap's gonna have no trouble getting out and away from this turret. They've got also the first item advantage in jungle here with the Demonic completed.
Oh, Doran has ulted. There's the dominance from Broken Blade as well. The empower, not gonna be enough. And Broken Blade just walks his way out. No worries at all.
Doran staring him down as he walks away.
This is the look that you want if you're a Gen.G fan, though, from Doran. This guy has been up and down, but it's mainly been up at this end of this year. Good to see that he is standing his ground, despite the early game and that missed cannon is probably still weighing his mind.
We do have multiple people going towards the bot side. G2 probably looking to put down Herald. Will be the case. Gen.G taking control of the river, but Chovy has to catch this wave. Did get Mickey's ultimate, but again, the fact that...
Oh, slice and dice. Broken Blade looking for it. Doran is going to deny the stun. That's what you need as Chovy does find the Everfrost, but not going to find any kills or anything like that. Broken Blade now going to give it another shot. Doran doesn't have a lot of mana available. We'll see whether he is going to be able to keep himself alive. There's the Counter-Strike. That's the button that you're looking for. And should be able to survive this, but Broken Blade bullying.
And even though Chovy invests the Lissandra ultimate, hands also forced to heal, still took a ton of damage. And that is seemingly enough to make G2 rather say, hey, we're going to back off, going to give this one up. And it's a Hex Stack Soul. Really high value, and I love the Hex Gates, the amount of action they generate on the map. And we do see Mythics now starting to come through. Both Broken Blade has his Gore Drinker available, as Caps being up gold. Almost 1k against Chovy, courtesy of this counter, because Peyz will be okay.
Not even going to interrupt the back from Delight that Peyz can taxi onto as well, if he would like to. Not going to, though. Wants to get a bit more gold before he heads back. And Doran now back up towards the top side. He invested his teleport as Chovy finds the chain. Not that time, as the Everfrost does come in, but Peanut gets the kickback. Buster shot is now available for Chovy as Caps, just trying to keep himself in this one. The next chain should land, though, and Chovy gets his revenge with a little bit of help from his friend. Speaking of friends, Yike's up here to help out Broken Blade, but it looks like Doran will be okay for now.
Really good job there from Peanut, making sure they can actually get the kill onto Caps, and Caps doesn't blow his flash. As soon as he sees Lee Sin show up, he knows he's been had. He had some pretty good mechanics avoiding Chovy's initiation there, but once Peanut's there, he's down. Now Gen.G, see if they can actually even get back to try and defend. Doran knows it's too dangerous. They're teleporting bottom for the flank.
Yeah, that's a real deep teleport as Chovy's making his way in. Blade Caller comes down. Another Everfrost is going to catch onto Hans Sama. The Frozen Tomb does come through, but can Chovy be stopped at this point in time? The Chain Lash comes in. Hans Sama thinks he's going to get out, but there's the quickness. Chovy locks down the kill, and Mikyx, he goes golden, but he may not survive. Does splash away, and so he will live to see another day this time. Sorry about the rhyme. As Gen.G look to push in the next minion wave.
Might not be done, Chovy. Oh, I think that claw might have been a giveaway.
Well,
Chovy might be in trouble
jump.
here.
Gets pushed back. And Chovy taking a few shots. Peyz is not going to risk it. Hitbox can be a little bit weird there as Chovy takes the opportunity to get himself in Nature's Grasp.
Oh, Peyz actually flashing instead of using his cleanse there. And going to be favorable trade in terms of kills, but G2 do fight back.
What an exciting game we have here. So close in gold, split dragons as well. Of course, the top side here, now with both of them having their mythics completed, Doran is able to get the push out.
The question I have about the using the flash instead of the cleanse, because that's really curious, right? Oh, ooh, gonna have to hold that thought as Chovy gonna throw down the Nature's Grasp. Caps just gets out of the way, and all of Gen.G is just fine. Not able to do it. Yeah, it's just no worries there at all. But the question that I had, is cleanse actually more valuable? Because cleanse ult might be better
against
than having a flash.
Against Lissandra.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm just posing the question.
Honestly, pretty interesting. Even though the cooldown is longer, the in-combat ability to bait people.
Yeah, he made a conscious call, right?
Yeah. You can certainly bait people in, but honestly,
flash is pretty important.
You press tab and you know he's got cleanse, right? So
yeah. Well, Chovy going to lose his turret, and Cap's doing his job on this Tristana right now, putting even more money in. Has the Merc Treads on top of his first damage item in the Kraken Slayer. The G2 in a great position, but it's not represented in the gold, it's not represented in the dragons. And now a teleport to come forward. They're looking for the second Rift Herald. That could start opening up the map here for G2. Peanut not wanting that one to happen. Chovy moving on over on Vision as Doran's taking a Hex Gate over the Jax, looking for the flank angle, and Nature's Grasp comes in. And Gen.G, can they actually get into position to fight this one? The Rift Herald has already gone down, and G2, they just want to get out. They're just looking for the disengage, and they'll have it.
I want to say, too, on the Flash Cleanse, since we're not going to actually get a team fight here, and they're going to split top side for G2, mid lane for Gen.G. I think they get the better end of the lane split, is that you don't have to take the damage if you're going to go with that option, and he was a little bit low, so doesn't want to get poked down. G2, of course, Rift Herald has to be answered here with the hard push.
It's true, Chovy is going to turn up, but that is a lot of damage to this turret, and it looks like G2 are thinking about just staying here. There's a counter-strike. The flash finds everyone from Doran, and now Chovy's looking to answer. Still, Delight dives forward. The Buster Shot's massive, but it's not going to be enough. As Caps goes down, Broken Blade is huge in the back line, and the Dominus is actually ticking down. Chovy out of the fight for now, but Broken Blade doesn't have any friends anymore. He's still trying to do what he can. The Cold Meek is fantastic, but it's Peyz that gets one.
Doran, you absolute beast with the huge counter-strike there. Him and Chovy set it up. Oh, look at this timing.
And G2 feels so safer. You're pushing with multiple people. Getting this turret would be so big, but the flash counter-strike from Doran combined with the CC from Chovy sets up the play for the rest of Gen.G.
Yeah, he steals the Lissandra ultimate, uses it against G2, and then Broken Blade, even though he's full health in there. He's got 4 members of Gen.G around. This Crocodile has nowhere to escape to, and that is a big, big play for Gen.G.
Still, a lot of turret gold went over to G2. Doran will be able to push down this bottom outer, and the Drake is going to be taken, so only now does the trade become very Gen.G favored, and it might be even worse as Chovy, he's picked up a Dominus as well. Broken Blade taking a little bit of extra damage. And the Gen.G solo laners are now in position to start flexing their muscles.
And in the LCK, this is where we've often seen is hold up Doran.
Okay, yeah, Doran is just going to stay here. Peanut is going to turn up as well, but Broken Blade will survive. Chovy's in so much trouble, and Doran's going to go down with the help of the True Shot Barrage, and G2, they're not going to be bullied.
As I was about to say, this is often where Gen.G takes control when the game opens up, when it comes to the team fights and the side laning. Their macro is so oppressive in the LCK, but G2 actually punished the overextension there as Broken Blade makes his way out.
And the key to that choice for Gen.G is the timer. The 1 minute on Baron when they start that play on bottom side, trying to make this play here. They know it is a little bit risky, but they got plenty of time, even if it does go wrong, to get back to the top side of the map. Here it is, though. Chovy and Doran at it again, trying to make it happen. Chovy taking up the tower, though. The Ezreal True Shot does clip him, and the Maokai burn finishes the job.
Really nicely played. And Gen.G, they do have that Drake advantage, of course, with Hextech Drake on the field. Not only do you get the fun gates, but you also get a ridiculous soul that is up and available. G2 will be fighting for the next one to even things out on that score. They're going to take the gates through and look for an opportunity around this red buff. Chovy possibly getting closed in on, but he's wise to it. He will be able to get himself out of the way. The Brambleback now going to pull itself back as well. Peyz wanting to collect that one. G2 with control of the river for the moment. The Baron going to be up right now.
And looking at the items, we see 2 items for Caps. Obviously was able to pick up a kill, able to pick up a lot of gold from turrets. Same for Chovy though, sitting on 7 stacks as Mikyx. He'll be fine.
As the aftershock, he'll be okay. You can continue.
Looking at Peyz, not actually able to finish his second item just yet. With Hans already sitting on his evolved Mana Mune as well. Ezreal obviously with the cheaper items going to spike a little bit earlier in that regard. We'll see if it actually ends up mattering though, as the fight between Doran and Broken Blade continues.
It is. And Doran is going to win because he killed the ward. Well done, Doran. Absolutely nailed it.
Love it. The ward trophy.
Uh-huh.
The battle of top laners with huge stakes. Honestly, though, yeah, the quick blades will be really big for Peyz. Once Gen.G are able to get that, he's got both summoner spells available right now.
Doran! It looked like he didn't even care. Oh, do you know what? That was a flex play. That was him saying, I don't even need cannons.
Yeah, but Broken Blade didn't see it, so you don't do the mental damage.
No, but the crowd saw. This is for those the comments that he's going to see after the game.
All
right, Hansama. He's Ezreal, so not in a whole lot of danger. Mikyx in a similar position as the Lissandra as he gets back on his claw. The claw of doom, as
Here's my question. If we've seen that many cannon misses on camera, how many happened off camera?
Don't think about it.
No. LCK observers,
they don't miss those. It's actually true.
They don't miss. They find them all as, Doran, Caps on his way. No Counter-Strike.
Yeah, Caps just going to rocket jump his way forward. He saw there is a fire on the bottom side, and Doran is just going to walk away. Wants to take the minions with him, and he will be able to do so.
He'll drop the cannons, but those melees, go in, grab them all.
Especially caster minions. No, Doran does not allow those ones to go unchecked. This is a bit dangerous. There's the Counter-Strike. See where this rocket jump is going to come from as Doran is looking for it. Caps just holding onto the button. He leap strikes early, and now it's Delight that's going to make his way in. The quickness will charm him up, and the Q's not going to connect, so Delight says, all right, I'll take it. And the True Shot Barrage sails by Doran, and he'll be okay. Now it's time to go back and buy.
Yeah, if you're looking at the mini-map during that one-on-one, you know the ending to the story. The Hex Skates used by Gen.G as Doran challenges Caps and has the extra teammates to come in.
Peyz just going to walk out of the way of Mikyx. Does have that Frozen Tomb up and available now, but with no Caps, can be a little bit dangerous. 20 seconds and teleport is available, so Caps can be there in a moment's notice. So not a whole lot of map control given over to Gen.G for that reason. Chovy just going to bait out a sapling, but now both him and Peyz are standing on a ward that could be a little bit dangerous.
All right.
Still, I think Chovy just getting into the brush, throwing out chains left and right.
I feel like we're at the doorstep of seeing why Delight is renowned as such an amazing Rakan, because he's going to have to get through Maokai ultimate, Lissandra peel, Maokai peel to get this engaged for Gen.G, but I actually have confidence in him to do it, and Chovy has been so good here at finding flanks and following up. G2, they definitely have to get their wards down. They definitely have to watch their flanks and mark these engagers.
Particularly in the context of a best of 3, G2 on blue side, right? If you are gonna have to bend the Rakan, his Broken Blade does take some damage, but if you're gonna have to bend the Rakan for the rest of the game, particularly if you don't end up winning, you swap to rep side eventually, even if you are able to pick up the second game, could be a big problem there as Drake started up.
Yeah, Cap's already taking it down to below half health, and it looks like Gen.G not going to be able to challenge for the Dragon, but can they find themselves a fight is the question. There's the teleport in, as it's right on top of the Maokai. Doran, and now look for that angle. Nature's Grasp is going to come out from Chovy this time around. Broken Blade going to be taken down, but it's at the cost of a lot of health bars, but there goes Yike as well. It's a double kill for Peyz. Mikyx trying to get himself in a position, but it's Doran that's ripping them apart. Caps is still up, but he has about 1 health to his name, and now Hansama, can he find the angle? The answer is no, because Counter-Strike, it allows you to dodge a lot of auto attacks, gentlemen, and Gen.G will pick up the ace.
And with the Hex Gates, they might be able to make their way over to the Nash, and they might not get the Drake, but I think they're gonna be calling war from that one.
Yep, the call from Gen.G immediately. Just look for the kills. The stolen Maokai ultimate, 10 times as impactful as the original item. Peanut and Doran using the teleport there to 2v1 take down Yike as well, and it's just a massacre here.
And I know Doran, he might not hit his cannon minions, but he does hit his counter strikes.
Hey,
and that's what
Tristana's
matters.
just a big cannon minion, right? It has the cannon, it counts. And that is going to be the Baron taken. Mikyx is now cruising towards Chovy, but he does claw his way out. He's going to flash, he's still going to die. Peanut picks up that one. He's going to be taken out for his trouble, though, and there's a frozen tomb on top of Caps. The chains don't land, but the lash certainly does. And Doran collects that kill in the end. True shot barrage from Summers. Now he wants to try and take matters into his own hands, and now Broken Blade takes himself a Hex Gate to get out, and I think that's the end of the action.
Oh, it's gotten exciting, it's gotten frantic, but you know Gen.G, they keep coming out on top. Massive, massive lead now. Baron buff, and there's plenty of secondary towers here for them to go siege up and increase this Baron power play. Mikyx taking the Hex Gate over. A bit ambitious, and Chovy is there on arrival. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, I'm not. That one was perplexing, but it was just a bit of a Hail Mary, and you have to kind of take those when things are starting to go wrong.
Yeah, trying to flip it. Not even the power of Hex Gates can get Sama to this fight in time. And a little bit fragmented RG2. They're trying to maybe get some exit kills, maybe catch Gen.G off guard. Not really going to be the case in the Red Bull Baron power play. Now 2K for Gen.G. The play from G2 did delay a lot of what you normally see, where Gen.G would immediately start sieging, right? Immediately get the wave crash after the empowered recall. Did slow down a little bit. Doran?
Yeah, going to get spotted on that ward. Does use a control ward to leap Strike away, so that's an expensive exit from the situation. But Peyz is going to put some money back into those pockets of his as the inner turret is going to fall. Broken Blade not going to find the angle, and Delight and Peyz looking a little bit immovable in this game. Still, Peyz taking a fair bit of damage. The Maokai with the first strike, actually able to do a little bit. Still, Peyz not too worried about it. Close to his third item. Lord Dominic's going to be coming through very, very soon. And now they're just dotting some I's and crossing some T's as they move towards this inner turret on the top side. Might potentially about to break out. We'll see whether G2 can stop this. The siege is coming in.
And they're splitting 4-1 here with Doran knocking on the front door. This Jax. All game long, so much pressure asserted by Doran. So many plays opened up by Doran.
Oh, Chovy has thrown down another Nature's Grasp. This time, the Arcane Shift going to be enough to get Summer out. There's a kick on a Broken Blade. Not exactly the best from Peanut there, but into the backline goes Delight, but he's stopped in his tracks. There we go. That's what's supposed to happen as Mikyx is taking so much damage. Chovy now able to throw the chains out, but he's going to miss that one. It's a double as this Xayah is just so huge, and Peyz is going to be able to grab most of it. Still, Summer at full health, and he is Arcane shifting forward. Can he get them out of here is the question as Gen.G turn, look for an opportunity, but I think they're just going to back away.
Crucially, G2 is able to hold on to their base, not actually giving up any inhibitors, but I think Gen.G should still be able, with the loss of this Baron buff, to make their way back, set themselves up for Soul Point.
All right, let's take another look at how it started. Chovy moves into the Fog of War on the corner with the stolen Maokai ultimate, forces them all back. Hans have to shift away from the fight. Then they go in. Delight, though, he runs into the exact problem we're talking about with this comp, where there's so much peel, so much CC on G2 side that they're able to kill him. Only thing is, it's immediately answered as Mikyx goes in and uses the offensive Lissandra ultimate, so he has nothing to save himself. He immediately goes down to Chovy.
Speaking of offensive Lissandra ultimates, that's another use for it.
He's gone!
Very glad that we had that example. Just unfortunate. You have to be warding, and sometimes there's going to be a Sylas in there. I do love the fact that we actually get to see why the Lissandra is so good into the Rakan, though, because Delight's like, yes, I've got the grand entrance, everything's going to be great, and then he was dead.
And here we see, and this is obviously by design, when you go for the Ezreal, Peyz has been funneled so much resources by Gen.G, wave after wave, right? Turrets that go down, picked up 5 kills throughout all of these fights, and as a result now, they're able to afford the QSS stacks without even having to give up any offensive power.
He's been so impressive. Youngest player at the tournament, 17-year-old Peyz, rookie of the year, 700 gold bounty on his head. That's maximum. If G2 can manage to take him down, then there would be a huge bounty, but Gen.G are not going to give you that opening. They push the lead. They pick up Dragon number 3 here, setting up their soul point, and they immediately flex into 1-3-1 split push. They've even got more security for Peyz.
QSS and Mikyx?
QSS and Mikyx and Cleanse and Xayah ultimate and Flash. Cleanse not up right now, but they've got 2 backups.
Okay, well, the CC not going to be as much of an issue here for the Xayah, and he's been a bit of a quiet achiever this game. I feel like we've been talking a lot about Doran, a lot about Chovy, and Peyz has just been sitting back, throwing feathers, and people have been dying.
Just like him in real life, pretty quiet in those interviews.
Absolutely.
Peyz interviews are my favorite. There's
Truly.
just the gap between
It's just the amount of words that he gets out. You know, he's so succinct.
How ruthless he is in game, offset against how just relaxed. You know, he's just there. He's just vibing. He's not saying a whole lot.
Somewhere there's an Ashley Kang groaning. As Mikyx is just going to look for another opportunity here. The Lissandra pick potential is certainly something that G2 can leverage, and I think that picking out a member of Gen.G to try and get some semblance of tempo is what they're going to need to do. As now Chovy finds himself in Nature's Grasp, gets rid of it immediately as the chains are not going to connect. The rocket jump just to buffer, so the CC's going to be there, and in goes Delight, finds the angle this time around, and Caps is dead already. Chovy goes gold, and Delight finds the knock-up, and Broken Blade was looking for him. Mickey's going to die in the backline. It's a triple, a double. There's the triple for Chovy. And now Broken Blade, I think it might be the pentakill. Our fourth of the tournament. That would be absurd. Chovy is pretty low trying to get into this one, and Peanut wants to feed it to him.
Don't do it, Peanut!
No flash is available. He's Peanut! He did that to Ruler so many times throughout the years. Ruler left the team, and now he has to do it to Chovy.
Peanut says pentas are earned. Where were you?
I think that is a direct quote, yeah. And now Gen.G going to break down these Nexus turrets. It was a really cool try and a great start for G2, but not quite enough to get them over the line. The Nexus will fall down, and Gen.G one game away from the knockout stage.
LCK #1. All right, you guys have impressed me.
Thanks, I'm glad.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, I think now you can probably just ban the Rakan and have another go at it. And I think that's probably fine. I like the idea of going for it, but now the backs are against the wall. Delight shouldn't play it, you'll have another go. But let's throw it over to the desk and see what they thought about that game #1.
I thought it was a cool try as well, and
cool try.
Yes, that's what Atlas said. A
Got
cool
some
try.
attitude on that.
Yeah, it definitely was. They tried things, G2, but I think you see kind of pound for pound when that game goes on, and when it comes down to some of the decisions you can make, how much might is just packed into all those singular players on Gen.G.
Listen, Gen.G is amazing. Like JDG, Gen.G, 2 tournament favorites. I'm actually, for a team that lost 20 kills to 5, I thought G2 was in it for a while.
Yeah.
That's true.
I love poking fun at G2, but I actually do think they're really good. They might not be top 2 seed in Swiss good, but they are really good.
What is the things that makes you think that as we run through some of these replays, because there's some that I want to call up, maybe start with in the top lane where in the end Doran just gets an absolutely massive moment to turn around that fight. I think that that's one of the indicators of kind of how quickly this can turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was just a huge play there. You could see that Mickey was trying to ult him to actually prevent him from going in, but he got the flash off prior to getting Lissandra ulted, and it's those tiny, minute details that really can swing a fight.
Exactly, and this started as a 3v4. I think really hyper old school LCK teams wouldn't do that fight unless it was even numbers or advantage numbers, and I think that is one of the differences that can make this team so elite, is their ability to see these undermanned situations and still make big plays.
And I mean, even as at the end of it, the way that these teams are actually playing out the team fights, to always use the maximum amount of their health without actually dying, always knowing how to play their champions to the very, very limit is something that constantly impresses me.
And on top of that, on top of being effective, that is also extremely frustrating to play against if you're G2, right? Because you just keep thinking, they keep getting away with it. I was so close. Jat, to your point then, what are the things that we saw then that you liked, and how was Gen.G able to counter it so effectively then?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fights where G2 got away with little slivers of health as well, but I think they just had better initiation in a lot of situations. I thought Chovy got a big goal lead in this game, and it was a really good game for the Sylas. Like, yes, the pocket Lissandra is nice, but a Sylas with Lissandra is a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And in like this fight in particular, it just didn't start well for G2. You can see the Maokai is stuck on the wrong side of the fight. another beautiful Sylas ultimate coming in when he steals Maokai, and Chovy being able to buy all that space. Think about it, he initiated the fight, he did most of the damage, then he became untargetable, and it allows them to just double team them with Doran at the end.
Well, yeah, and I think the positioning of Doran and Peanut in this was so critical, right? Because you have the stolen Maokai ultimate coming from one side, and G2 wants to step forward and attack the 3, but they can't because Jax will be into their backline at that point. So it's these multi-pronged attacks, it's the way that they're timing that attack, the way that they're timing their coordination. It makes it so difficult for G2 to actually have any recourse in those fights.
And silently, Xayah could always get in the right position as well and tear through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to talk a little bit about some of these picks, right? Because Hans Sama, brought out the Ezreal. He was banned out on some of these aggressive picks, and he went completely the other way, right? It was the Kalista banned out, the Draven banned out. Historically, this has not really been one of his picks that he goes towards. 9-14 all time. I never really think of that sort of Ezreal player. He also isn't really a big Zeri guy. There's some of these meta picks that he never really just picked up on, but he's so good at the picks that he really shines on. I just don't think that this is really one that suited their style, because one of the biggest things for G2 has been that aggression through bot lane, and I think they were kind of neutered in that way with this Ezreal pick. Yes, they brought up the Lissandra. That was cool. It was 2-0 for Mikyx in the LEC against the Rakan as that counterpick matchup. But Xayah on the other side, 10-2 now. 10-2 in the group stage. That is a really, really crazy record. We've been seeing Kai'Sa and Xayah as the main 2 picks. Kai'Sa, even amongst the LPL and LCK teams, has been losing. Xayah has been dominating, and I really did feel that Gen.G had the edge in the draft.
Maybe Hans played Xayah yesterday, and he was like, oh, this isn't that strong. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not as good.
Well, let me play Ezreal. No, just kidding, of course. But yeah, it is interesting to see, and I think this also goes to your point a little bit. They had a game plan, right? G2, they wanted to try something different. Of course, the Mikyx Lissandra as a counter to the Rakan is a special on his part that we also seen most recently in the LEC. So you can't really blame him for that.
No. I mean, I just think I would like a more aggressive pairing, as far as a bot lane alongside it, because it just doesn't feel like you can really punish the Rakan that well with the Ezreal. I also feel like, when you're playing this sort of a comp, I think they were trying to get pretty clever with how they're moving things around the map, bringing the Tristana back towards mid, which hasn't really been a popular pick, as an answer into that Sylas. But unless you're really playing very far ahead, I feel like it's really difficult into the matchups that you have. The Sylas is going to be really difficult in the late game, especially with good access to ultimates that he had. The Jax is going to outscale the Renekton. I felt like they had the advantage in the bot lane as well. So to me, it was a really difficult draft to play out for G2 if they weren't crushing early.
Well, they picked blue side, so we actually get to see them run it back. So I'm wondering exactly what they're going to change. I really like Gen.G's bans. Draven, Kalista, Orianna, super solid.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly where G2 is going to be able to pick up the changes. I think, honestly, trying to get a little bit more skirmishy, because they were a team that needed to set up like almost perfect team fights, and they got flanked again and again. So
yeah, the Sylas also, we're seeing it emerge now. Of course, it's always been, as long as I can remember in recent memory, a very strong pick. It's just that some of the others, like the Azir and like the Ori, have been so powerful. But I wonder if that's just going to sneak in a lot more.
I think part of it is the evolution of the draft phase, because generally speaking, today, Red Side hasn't been banning like the OPs. They've been target banning and opening things.
Yeah.
And Maokai was one of the champions that Sylas is really good against, because you get to steal the Maokai ultimate. So the fact that Maokai went through made the Sylas stronger. So I think if we keep seeing stuff like that, then the Sylas will stay. But if they start banning Maokai again, Sylas will disappear.
Speaking of Maokai, in our latest episode of Oppo Welcome to the Rift, we've talked to G2's Yike about his debut at the World Championship.
Hello guys, this is G2 Yike, and this is my debut at Worlds. And I always had a dream to qualify for Worlds, and since I was a kid, and I actually thought it was gonna be very hard for me. But when I joined G2, I think my team was extremely confident, and they made me very confident. And now we qualified for Worlds, and my dream is becoming true. Watching every year all the best players in the world play against each other, it feels like surreal for me to just be here and participate in it. I think my biggest advice would be to just keep sticking to your own game. I think you have to believe in yourself, and that's something I realized in the last years, that if I believe in myself, I play my own game that I know I'm good at, I will go far.
bringing in a new roommate to save money? Is that the plan?
Say hi to Glenn from work.
Yeah, I think I have a much better plan. We switched to my plan from Verizon.
That is a good plan. Glenn.
Get my plan starting at just $25 when you bring your own phones. Plus, save when you add perks like the Disney Bundle. It's your Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.